Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to the evening Ramayan recitals. We are going to begin with the preliminary mantras. So please have yourself ready. Sprinkle water on yourselves and all the prayer goods. Om apavitraha pavitro va sarvavasthangato va yah smaret pundarikaksham savahibhyantarah shuchi. Sip water from the palm of your right hand, once for each mantra. Om Keshivaya Namaha, Om Narayanaya Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha. Now you rinse your hands. Om Rishikeshaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha, Om Madhusudanaya Namaha. You now put a paiti, a kus ring, on the right hand ring finger. Om Pavitresthau Vaishnavyo Saviturvaha Prasava Utpunam Yachidrena Pavitrena Surya Rashmabhihi Tasyate Pavitrapate Pavitraputasya Yattakamaha Punetachakeyam. Using your thumb, place a chandan dot on your forehead. Om Chandanam Bandate Nityam Pavitram Papanashanam Apadam Harite Nityam Lakshmir Vasatu Sarvada. Light your lamp. Om Bodhipa Tvam Brahma Rupa Andhakara Nivaraka Imamayang Kritang Puja Grihastejo Pravardhaya. Om Deepaya Namaha. Sprinkle water. Om Pridvitvayadrita Loka Devi Tvam Vishnunadrita Tvam Cha Dharyamam Devi Pavitram Kuru Chasanam. I'm going to read the Swasti Vachan now. So if you have a flower, you may take a flower in your hand. Otherwise, put your hands together and concentrate on Bhagwan. Om Swastina Indro Vridashravah Swastinaha Pukha Vishwavedah Swastinastarikshur Arishtanemihi Swastino Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Payah Prithivyam Paya Okadishu Payo Divyantarikshe Payodhah Payaswati Pradishah Santu Mahiyam. Om Vishnoraratmasi Vishnoh Shnaptristho Vishnoh Syurasi Vishnurdhruvasi Vaishnavamasi Vishnavetva. Om Agnir Devata Vato Devata Suryo Devata Chandrama Devata Vasavo Devata Rudra Devata Ditya Devata Maruto Devata Vishwe Deva Devata Brihaspatir Devatendro Devata Varuno Devata. Om Dyaho Shantir Antarikshagvam Shanti Prithvi Shantir Apah Shantir Oshadhayah Shanti Vanaspatayah Shantir Vishwadevah Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvagvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi. Om Vishwani Deva Savitar Duritani Parasuva Yadbhadran Tanna Asuva. You may place your offerings on the bedi. Now we're going to read the invocation mantras for Ganesh, Gauri, Kalash, and Lord Shiva. So again, you may hold a flower in your hand and concentrate on the deities that I have mentioned. ओम हे हे रंभ त्वमे ये हि अंबिका त्र्यंबकात्मज सिद्धि बुद्धि पते त्रयक्ष लक्ष लाभ पितु पितः नागस्य नागहारत्वं गणराजा चतुर्भुज स्वायुधे स्वायुधे दिव्ये पाशांकुश परश्वधे आवाहयामि पूजार्थं रक्षार्थं च मम क्रतोः इहागत्य गृहान् त्वं पूजां क्रतुं च रक्ष मे। ओम गणानां त्वा गणपति गुं हवामहे प्रियानां त्वा प्रियपति गुं हवामहे निधीनां त्वा निधिपति गुं हवामहे वसो मम आहम जानि गर्भधमा त्वं अजासि गर्भधम्। ओम भूर्भुवस्व गणपतये नमः। ओम अम्बे अम्बिके अम्बालिके नमानिति कश्चन सस्यस्वक शुभद्रिकां काम्पीलवासिनीं। ओम भूर्भुवस्व अंबिकायै नमः। ओम तत्वायामि ब्रह्मणा वन्दमानास शास्ते यजमानो हवीरभिः अहेडमानो वरुणेः बोध्युर्षग्वं समान आयुः प्रमोषिः। ओम नमः शंभवाय च मयोभवाय च नमः शंकराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च शिवाय नमः। You may place your offerings onto the altar on your bedi, and we are now going to do the puja to Sri Sita Ram Chandraji. So you may take a flower in your hand and concentrate on Bhagwan Shri Ram and Mother Sita. Om Shri Ramchandra Raghupungava Rajavarya Rajendra Rama Raghunayak Raghavesham Rajadhiraj Raghunandan Ramchandra Dasoham Adya Bhavata Sharanagatoस्मि। ध्यायेत् आजान बाहुं धृतशरधनुषं पद्मपद्मासनस्थं पीतं वासोवसानं नवकमलदर स्पर्धि नेत्रं प्रसन्नं वामां कारूढ सीतामुखकमलमिललोचनं नीरधाभं नाना अलंकार दीप्तं धत मरुचटा मंडलम रामचंद्रम। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचंद्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। श्री राम राम रघुनंदन राम राम श्री राम राम भरत अग्रज राम राम श्री राम राम रण कर्कश राम राम श्री राम राम शरणं भव राम राम लोकाभिरामं रणरंगधीरं राजीव नेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्य रूपं करुणाकरन्तं श्रीरामचंद्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। ओम आयाहि भगवन् रामः जगदीश्वर दयानिधे प्रसन्नो भव देवेशे नमस्तुभ्यं सदा विभुः। ओम श्री राम जानकीनाथ अयोध्यापति पाहि माम् आसनं दिव्य सर्वेश दास्येहं तुभ्यमीश्वरम्। Place your offerings down and sprinkle some water on your murti or image, or if you are using a betel nut, you may offer water on that. Om Shri Raghavendra Kripanath Narakarnutaraka Padyam Grihan Devesha Mama Sokyam Vivardhaya. Offer water again. Om Kaushalya Sutta Shri Rama Narayana Namostute Argam Grihan Devesha Sarvartha Siddhidayaka. Now sprinkle water around. Om Mandakinyastu Yadvari Sarva Paparam Shubham Tadidam Kalpidam Deva Samyagacham Yatam Tvaya. So if it's available, offer some Panchamrit. Om Snanam Panchamritam Deva Grihana Purushottama Anathanatha Sarvagya Girvana Pranati Priya. Now offer water. Om Ganga Godavari Reva Payushni Yamuna Tatha Saraswatyadi Tirthani Snanartham Pratigrihatam. Offer 2 pieces of raw cotton, one as clothing, and the second one as Yagyopavita, as a janev. Om Veda Sukta Samayukta Yagyasama Samanvite Sarvavarna Prade Deva Vasasi Pratigrihatam. Om Brahma Vishnu Maheshena Nirmitam Brahma Sutrakam Yagyopavita Danena Priyatam Ayodhyapatihi. Using your ring finger, you will offer a chandan dot on your image. Om Sri Khanda Chandanang Divyang Gandhadyam Sumanoharam Vilepanam Surasreshta Chandanam Pratigrihatam. Now offer colored powders. Om Abiram Kumkumam Cheva Sinduram Bhagyavardhanam Nivedayami Te Mata Grihana Parameshwari. Offer rice. Om Akshatanscha Surasreshta Shubhradunascha Nirmala Maya Nivedita Bhakti Grihana Parameshwara. Flower. Om Mallikadi Sugandhini Malatyadini Ve Prabho Mayarthani Pujartham Pushpani Pratigrihatam. Tulsi. Om Tulsi Manjari Bhirya Kuryat Hari Hararchanam Nasa Garbham Griyam Yati Mukti Bhago Nasanshayam. Wave the agarbatti. Om Vanaspati Rasodbhuto Gandhadyo Gandhoktama Agrahya Sarva Devanam Dhupoyam Pratigrihatam. Arti. Om Sajang Cha Varti Sanyuktang Bahaninam Yojitang Maya Deepang Grihana Devesha Trailokya Timirapaha. Rinse your hands and then offer prasad, fruit, raisins, badam, or any prasad that you have prepared. Om Gritapakvam Havishyanam Payasam Cha Sharkaram Nana Vidam Cha Nevedyam Grihana Parameshwara. Sprinkle water. Om Sarva Papa Haram Divyam Gangeyam Nirmalam Jalam Achvanam Mayadaktam Grihatam Parameshwara. All right, so if you have it available, you may offer a betel leaf, betel nut, a pinch of camphor, cloves, and a coin. Betel leaf, betel nut, a pinch of camphor, cloves, and a coin. Om Lavankar Purayutam Tambulam Surapujitam Pritya Grihana Devesha Mama Sokyam Vivardhaya. Now we'll do Arti. Om Chaturvarti Samayuktam Gritena Cha Supuritam Nirajanena Santushto Bhavatvevam Jagatpatihi. Om Yanikani Cha Papani Janmantara Kritani Cha Tani Tani Vinashyanti Pradakshina Pade Pade. Bolye Shri Sita Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. Rinse your hands and then put your palms together as we do Namaskar to Sita Mata and to Sri Ramchandra Ji. Om Neelam Bodhara Kanta Kanta Manisham Veera Sanadhyasinam Mudra Jnanamayi Dadanam Aparam Hastam Bujam Januni Sita Parshva Gatam Satoruha Karam Vidyut Nibham Raghavam Pashyanti Mukutangadadi Vidha Kalpojvalangam Bhaje Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardana Yat Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurna Tadastu Meha. Dhanyavad. We will now move into Chalisa, I think. Ashwin Bhai, Dhanyavad.
नीलाम्बुज श्यामल कोमलंगम सीता समारुपिति वाम भागम पानो महासायक चार चापम नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् शिव जी मन माही, ब्रह्मा इंद्र पार नहीं पाए। जय 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 रघुनाथ कृपाला, सदा करो संतन प्रतिपाला। दूत तुम्हारे वीर हनुमाना, जासु प्रभाव तिहु पुर जाना। तब भुजदंड प्रचंड कृपाला, रावण मारी सुरन प्रतिपाला। तुम आनात के नाथ गोसाई, सदा ईश तुम्हरो यश गावे। चारों युवेल भरत है साकी, तुम भक्तन की लज्जा राखी। गुण गावत शारद मन माही, सुरपति को पार न पाही। नाम तुम्हार लेते जो कोई, तासम धन्य और नहीं होई। राम नाम है अपरंपारा, चारों युवेद निज ही पुकारा। गणपति नाम तुम्हारो लीनो, तिनको प्रथम पूजे तुम कीन्हो। शेष रतत नित नाम तुम्हारा, मही को भार शीश पर धारा। फूल समान रहत सोहारा, पवना करो तुम्हारो पारा। भरत नाम तुम्हरो उरधारो, तासो कबहु नरन में हारो। नाम शत्रुघ्न हृदय प्रकाशा, सुमिरत होत शत्रु कर नाशा। लक्ष्मण तुम्हरे आज्ञाकारी, सदा करत संतन रखवारी। तातेरन जीते नहीं कोई, युद्ध जुड़े यमहू की होई। महालक्ष्मी घर अवतारा, सब विधि करत पाप को चारा। सीता नाम पुनीता गायो, भुवनेश्वरी भई प्रभव दिखायो। घट सो प्रकट भय सो आई, जाको देखत चंद्र लजाई। सो तुम्हेरे नित पाव पलो तत, नवो निधि चरणन में लो तत। सिद्धि आधार मंगलकारी, सो तुम पर जवे बलिहारी। और जो अनेक प्रभुतारी, सो सीतापत तुम ही बना। चरणन चित लावे, ताको मुक्ति अवश्य हो जावे। जय 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 प्रभु ज्योत स्वरूपा, निर्गुण ब्रह्म अखंड अनूपा। सत्य सत्य सत्ये व्रत स्वामी, सत्य सनातन अंतर्यामी। सत्य भजन तुम रोजो गावे, सो निश्चय चरणन फल पावे। सत्य शपथ गौरी पत की नहीं, तुमने भक्ति सब सिद्ध दीन। सुनो राम तुम तात हमारे, तुम ही भरत कुल पूज्य प्रचारे। तुम ही देव कुल देव हमारे, तुम गुरुदेव प्राण के प्यारे। जो कुछ हो सो तुम ही राजा, जय 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 प्रभु राखो लाजा। राम आत्मा पोषण हारे, जय 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 दशरथ के दुलारे। ज्ञान दे दो ज्ञान स्वरूपा, नमो नमो जय जगपति भूपा। धन्य धन्य तुम धन्य प्रतापा, नाम तुम्हार हरत संतापा। सत्य शुद्ध देवन मुख गाया, बजी दुंदुबी शंख बजाया। सत्य सत्य तुम सत्य सनातन, तुम ही हो हमारे तन मन धन। या को पाठ करे जो कोई, ज्ञान प्रकट ताके उर होई। अवगामन न मिटे तिहि केरा, सत्य वचन माने शिव मेरा। और आस मन में जो होई, मन वांछित फल पावे सोई। तीनों काल ध्यान जो ल्यावे, तुलसी दल और फूल चढ़ावे। साग पत्र सो भोग लगावे, सोनर सकल सीधिता पावे। अंत समय रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। श्री हरिदास कहे अनुगावे, सोवे कुंत धाम को जावे। 7 दिवस जो नीम कर, पाठ करे चित लाए। हरिदास हरि कृपा से, अवश्य भक्त को पाए। राम चालीसा जो पढ़े, राम चरण चित लाए। जो इच्छा मन में करे, सकल सिद्धि हो जाए। राम नाम अति मीठा है, कोई गा के देख ले। राम नाम अति मीठा है, तू गा के देख ले। आ जाते हैं राम कोई बुला के देख ले हो। राम नाम देख लो मेरे दिल की नगीने में, हे विभीषण देख लो मेरे दिल की नगीने में, श्री राम जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में, श्री राम जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में,
जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में।
श्री राम जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में, देख लो मेरे दिल की नगीने में, देख लो मेरे दिल की नगीने में, श्री राम जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में, श्री राम
जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में।
श्री राम। मस्ती न सागर और मीने में, कोई मस्ती न सागर और मीने में। श्री राम जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में।
जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में।
श्री राम जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में।
जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में।
देख लो मेरे मन की नगीने में। श्री राम जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में।
जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में। जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में। जानकी बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में। ॐ गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरा, गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरुमूर्ति, पूजामूलं गुरुपद, मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं, मोक्षमूलं गुरुकृपा। हे रामा पुरुषोत्तम नरहरे नारायणो केशवा, गोविन्दो गुरुगरुडध्वज, गुणनिधे दामोदर माधवा। हे कृष्णा कमलापते यदुपते सीतापते, श्रीपते वैकुण्ठादिपते, चराचरपते, लक्ष्मीपते पाहि माम्। जो सुमिरत सिद्धि होय, गणनायक करिवर वदन, करौ अनुग्रह सोय, बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदन। मूक होय वाचाल, पंगु चढ़ै गिरिवर गहन, जासु कृपा सो दयाल, द्रवौ सकल कलिमल दहन। नील सरोरुह श्याम, तरुण अरुण वारिज नयन, करौ सो मम धाम, सदा क्षीर सागर शयना। कुंद इंदु समदेह, उमा रमन करुणायन, जाहि दीन परनेह, करौ कृपा मर्दन मयन। बंदौ गुरुपद कंज, कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि, महामोहतम पुंज, जासु बचन रवि कर निकर। कथा आरंभ होत है, सुनो वीर हनुमान, आसन को प्रभु आइए, सिया सखा सहित भगवान सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। शंकर हरि ओम। Balkand, Doha 327, Chaupai following day after. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. पुनि जेवनार भई बहु भांति, पठय जनक बोलाई बराती। परत पावरे वसन नूपा, सुतन्ह समेत गवन कियो भूपा। सादर सबके पाए पखारे, जथा जोगु पीरहन बैठारे। धोए जनक अवधपति चरना, सीलु सनेहु जाई नहीं बरना। बहुरी राम पद पंकज धोए, जे हर हृदय कमल महु गोए। तिनी हो भाई राम समझानी, धोए चरण जनक निज पानी। आसन उचित सबहि नृप दीन है, बोली सुपकारी सब लीन है। सादर लगे परन पनवारे, कनक कील मणि पान संवारे। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। सुपोदन सुरभि सरपी, सुंदर स्वादु पुनीत। छन महु सबके परुसी गे, चतुर सुआर बिनीत। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम. Now we come to a discussion of the Chaupai. So we heard previously of the beautiful marriage ceremony and how beautifully everything took place, and then the four princes together with their brides came to King Dashrath. And the next item during this marriage ceremony, well, the marriage proper has already taken place. So now it's time for the great banquet or the Khichdi Khawai, as we heard yesterday. So now they are ready to eat. So, फिर नाना प्रकार की रसोई तैयार हुई. जनक जी ने बारातियों को बुलाकर राजा दशरथ जी अपने पुत्रों के साथ चले. और वहाँ मार्ग में, as we noticed, it was full of carpets, beautiful carpets. So there was a magnificent banquet which was got ready, which was prepared for the bridegroom's party. A variety of dishes to which Janak ji invited all the members of the bridegroom's party. And then carpets of priceless cloth were spread on the way for Dashrath ji and his sons to walk. And this is the Adar Satkar that they do for a bridegroom's party. And we still continue this, but not in such a grand manner. But we do the khichdi khawai, definitely. And then, as Tulsidas ji says, Sadar sabke paaye pakhare, Jatha jog pirhan baithare. The feet of all were courteously washed, and then they were seated on wooden seats, each according to his degree. Janak washed the feet of Dashrath with a courtesy and affection past all telling. सबके सादर चरण धोए और उन्हें यथा योग्य पीढ़ों पर बैठाया. फिर जनक जी ने दशरथ जी के चरणों धोए. उनके शील और स्नेह का वर्णन नहीं किया जा सकता है. This was so much affection, so much courtesy, that it is difficult to even describe how much, how wonderful this was. But we are used to seeing this Pau Pujai before we do the Khichdi Khawai. You know, we do Pau Pujai for the bridegroom and the bride. The bride's parents do this for the bridegroom, and it is something like that. But here they washed the feet of everyone and made them sit in a very affectionate and respectful manner. फिर उन्होंने श्री रामचंद्र जी के उन चरण कमलों को धोया जिन्हें श्री शिव जी अपने हृदय कमल में छिपा रखा है. तीनों भाइयों को श्री रामचंद्र जी के ही समान जानकर जनक जी ने अपने हाथों से उनके भी चरण धोए. So, Janak ji washes Ram's lotus feet, and Ram's lotus feet are always in Bhagwan Shiv Ji's heart, Bhagwan Shiv Ji's lotus heart. And also with his own hands, Janak ji washed the feet of the other three brothers as though they were Ram himself. He made no distinction between Sita's husband and the husband of the other girls, the husbands of the other girls. So Ram's brothers were treated equally to Ram. Now, to each of the guests, Janak ji again assigned an appropriate seat. Then he sent for all the cooks, and these cooks began to respectfully set out the dishes. And the dishes they used were made from gold leaf plate, and the gold leaf plates were joined together with golden pins, and these golden pins were studded with gems. So Raja Janak ने सभी को सुयोग्य आसन दिए और सब रसोई परसने वालों को बुला लिया. तब आदर पूर्वक ऐसी पतले परने लगी जो मणियों से पत्तों में सोने की कील meaning nail or pin लगाकर बनाई गई थी. So it was not just banana leaves but gold leaf plates on which they had given them food. And now The expert and polite cooks passed around, and in a very quick moment served all with very tasty, delicious, and pure boiled rice and dal and ghee made from cow's milk. So this ghee is not made from buffalo milk. Cow's milk is the one that is treasured in Bharatvarsh. So चतुर और विनीत रसोइये सुंदर स्वादु एवं पवित्र दाल भात और गाय का घी क्षण भर में सबके सामने परस गए. They didn't waste time serving the food. It was not like when you go to a restaurant and they serve a few people and then you finish eating, then they come and serve the others. Each dish was served by its own cook. That was the tradition. So each dish, whoever prepared the food came and served it. And they served it fast. So the food doesn't get cold and the guests are not kept waiting. And it is real khichdi because the food is made with boiled rice and pulses and ghee. And as I mentioned, it was from cow's ghee, ghee made from cow's milk. As they call it soup odan. Soup odan refers to rice. And surabhi, of course, refers to Gau Mata. Now we come to the eating of the food. We were so far dealing with the serving of the food. Next we will come to the eating of the food. Balkand Chaupai after Doha 328. Ram Siya Ram, Siya Ram Jai Jai Ram. Ram Siya Ram, Siya Ram Jai Jai Ram. पंच कमल करी जेवन लागे, गारी गान सुनी अति अनुरागे. भांति अनेक परे पकवाने, सुधा सरिस नहीं जाहि बखाने. परुसन लगे सुआर सुजाना, बिंजन विविध नाम को जाना. चारि भांति भोजन विधि गाई, एक एक विधि बरनि न जाई. छरस रुचिर बिंजन बहु जाति, एक एक रस अगणित भांति. जेवत दिए देहि मधुर धुनि गारी, लय लय नाम पुरुष अरु नारी. समय सुहावनी गारी बिराजा, हसत राव सुनि सहित समाजा. एहि विधि सबहि भोजनु कीन्हा, आदर सहित आचमनु दीन्हा. राम सिया राम जय जय राम. राम सिया राम जय जय राम. देई पान पूजे जनक, दशरथ सहित समाज. जनवासे ही गवने मुदित, सकल भूप सिरताज. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय. उमापति महादेव की जय शंकर. Now we come to the second discussion of the eating of the food. We saw that supodan was served, which is soup, dal and bhat, khichdi with the cow's milk ghee. Then we come now to this chaupai. Panchakamali kari jevan lage, gari gan suni ati anurage, bhanti anek pare pakwane, sudha saris nahi jahi bakhane. So what happens here is पंच कवल की विधि करके सब लोगों भोजन करने लगे. मालियों का गाना सुनकर वे अत्यंत प्रेम मगन हो गए. अनेक तरह के अमृत तुल्य पकवान परोसे गए जिनका बखान नहीं हो सकता है. और first 5 morsels of food are taken in a special way. These 5 morsels of food are taken with the first 5 mantras. Om Pranaya Swaha, Om Apanaya Swaha, Om Vyanaya Swaha, Om Udanaya Swaha, Om Samanaya Swaha. This is an offering to Agni Dev, who is the Vaishvanar fire, the gastric fire in the gastric system, in the digestive system. This, when you take the first 5 bites of food, you offer it to the 5 vital pranas or the vayus. And this is how it is traditionally taken, and that is what the guests were doing. The guests took that 5 vital morsels and then they began to eat, listening with great delight to the Gari Ke Geet. The Gari Ke Geet is a traditional way of singing at a Khichdi Khawai. And this tradition is something that we in South Africa still maintain to this day, where the ladies of the bride's side will sing Gari Ke Geet directed to the people sitting and eating khichdi from the bridegroom's party. And this Gari Ke Geet, although if you were to translate it, you would say it's swearing songs or abusive songs. They are not really trying to abuse anyone. They are just trying to have a lot of fun, and there is a much deeper significance to this Gari Ke Geet. When you sing Gari Ke Geet, you are swearing the bridegroom's party. At the same time, you are removing all the bad luck. If you praise people too much, it can work against them and you. Too much of praise is not a good thing, because it makes people start thinking they don't mean that. And then there is, of course, all the spirit beings who are watching and listening, and they'll get jealous and they will make something bad happen. So the Gari Ke Geet is intended to ward off all the evil thoughts, whether real or imaginary, whether from here or from the other world, the Tripada Bhai, or the Tripada, the three forms of bad luck, which is Adhibhautik, Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, and Adhidevik, types of bad luck that can happen. Bad luck that can be created by one's own self, which is Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, that which can be created by other beings, and Adhidevik, that which can be created by these spirit forces. So that is the deeper meaning of singing the Gari Ke Geet. That is how I understand it. And then, so while they were served all this food and they had their 5 holy morsels with the mantras, then sweet foods were served, sweet as ambrosia and more delicious than words can tell. This was served. Then the well-trained cooks then began to serve an infinite variety of seasoned articles which were too numerous to be named. Chatur rasoyi अनेक प्रकार के व्यंजन परोसने लगे जिनके नाम भी कौन जानता है. So, शास्त्रों में 4 प्रकार के स्वादिष्ट भोजन बना गया है. 4 kinds of food mentioned in the scriptures. Foods that can be swallowed directly, food that has to be masticated before it can be eaten, that is chewed, that which can be licked, like something that does not have to be chewed, such as dahi or karhi, and that which can be sucked. There was an indescribable variety of foods that were served. Similarly, there were seasoned dishes of various kinds, having 6 different flavors, and each flavor was served in countless numbers of dishes. As the banquet proceeded, this Gari Ke Geet was being sung in melodious strains, mentioning men and women by name. So, chaho raso, meethe khana, khatte, खारे, कटुए, तीते और कसैले खाना के बहुत तरह के स्वादिष्ट व्यंजन है. उनमें एक एक रस के अनगिनत प्रकार के पदार्थ बने हैं. भोजन करते समय पुरुष और स्त्रियों के नाम ले लेकर स्त्रियां मधुर ध्वनि से गालियां दे रही है. This is the Gari Ke Geet that was continued to be sung while the food was being served and eaten. Now, as you know, a meal is not complete unless the 6 types of food, the 6 tastes of food are served. These 6 tastes of food are meethe, khatte, sweet, sour, khare, katue, bitter, pungent, tite, which is hot, and kaisaile, which is astringent. So bitter would be something like karela. Astringent would be similar to the taste of bhaji, which is astringent, something that tends to draw the muscles tight, and it's good for health. Each of these things is good for health. Tite, which we know very well, which is like chilies. Katu is bitter. That's similar to karela or methi seeds or methi bhaji. The sour and sweet is well known. Sour would be something like dahi or lemon. Sweet would be something like rice or milk or roti. All these things are sweet foods. Even if there is no sugar in it, it is considered sweet. Sugar in itself is a sweet food, but rice is also a sweet food. You don't have to add sugar for rice to be considered sweet. So all these dishes were served at the same time with the Gari ke Geet. Now, while they were listening to this Gari ke Geet, everyone was really enjoying it. The bridegroom's party were really enjoying listening to this. Samaya suhavani gari biraja, hasat rao suni sahit samaja. Ehi vidhi sabahi bhojan kinha, adar sahit achamanu dinha. Very agreeable with the Gari ke Geet and very suitable for that festive hour. And the king and the whole assembly were moved to laugh. They laughed. They were enjoying it as they heard the singing and while they were eating. In this manner, they all feasted, and in the end, they were courteously given water with which they did their achman. They rinsed their mouths, their hands and their mouths. So they were given achman water to rinse their hands and their mouths. So समय के अनुकूल दी गई सुहावनी गाली शोभित हो रही है. उसे सुनकर समाज सहित राजा दशरथ हंस रहे हैं. इस रीति से सभी ने भोजन किया और तब सबको आदर सहित आचमन दिया गया. उनके हाथ धुलवाए गए. So they were really enjoying it until the end when their hands and mouths were washed. Doha Dei pan puje janak dasrathu sahit samaj janwa se hi gavane mudit सकल भूप सिर ताज. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, शंकर हरि ओम. फिर पान देकर जनक जी ने समाज के साथ दशरथ जी का यथोचित सत्कार किया. सभी राजाओं के शिरोमणि श्री दशरथ जी प्रसन्न होकर जनवासे को चले. With due honor, Janak offered pan to Dashrath and all his guests, and then the king of all kings, Dashrath, happily retired to his own apartment. They were given pan to eat, and all the guests were given pan. And then, Tulsidas ji refers to Dashrath as the king of kings. He was so thrilled, he was so happy. And then they eventually retired to their lodgings, their apartment. Their special apartments had been created for the bridegroom's party. And they retired there after the celebrations, the marriage celebrations, and then the feasting, and now they are going to go and rest. कथा विसर्जन होत है, सुनो वीर हनुमान, आसन को प्रभु जाइए, सिया सखा सहित भगवान, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, शंकर हरि ओम। जय श्री राम।
Jai Shri Ram. Dear sisters and brothers, we've come to the end of the Ramayan recitals, which began last Saturday. And during this time, we have been reading about the marriage of Bhagwan Shri Ram to Mother Sita. And in this week, we have listened very carefully to descriptions of the arrival of the Bharat, the mutual respect that existed, the mutual love, the mutual affection that existed between the two parties, between Raja Dashrath's family and Raja Janak's family. So there was a lot that we learned as far as maintaining relationships is concerned from these kathas that we've been listening to during the week. I think we also realized from the recitals that we've had this week the importance of the Purohit. And we saw how Vasishtha and Shatanand led from the front, and how the families relied upon them because there was confidence and trust in the knowledge that they possessed. We also realized that at every point of the way, the correct procedure according to scriptures was followed as far as the wedding rituals were concerned. We saw how the place for fun, for music, for nagara and other kinds of fun activities were there, but that didn't displace or overshadow the importance of the Vedic rituals. So that's something else that we also learned. We also saw that different people have different roles to play in the wedding, and that if a particular kind of person is called, if a senior person is called, or if a Sakhi is called at different times, it's not any kind of discrimination, but that different people have different roles to play in the in the wedding itself. I think what we also learned from the recitals this week is that the role of tradition, family tradition in weddings is very important. As long as the traditions do not go against what is given in scriptures. So for example, Roshni Didi explained this evening the Kichri Khawai, and you would have heard previously also the importance of the Kichri, serving of Kichri to the groom's family. That is a good tradition, and it's one that needs to be maintained. And the reason for that is because, you see, rice represents auspiciousness, rice represents prosperity, rice represents fertility. And when you serve somebody Kichri, you are really announcing to that person that you are one of us. You are saying to that person that you are now part of this family. And so that is a good tradition that needs to continue. See, rice is used in most of our Hindu rituals, right? During the Vidai, for example, there's a tradition to have the bride throw rice above her head, which is then received by members of her family. And so what this symbolizes is that even though the Lakshmi of the house is departing, she is paying her debts, so to speak, to the family, and she's leaving her blessings of wealth and prosperity and eternal happiness with her family. Now, that is not a tradition that disturbs anybody, that cause any harm to anyone. So that's a good tradition to keep. What we need to understand, though, is that traditions, some of them are universal, some are regional. So, and here I'm specifically referring to a place like India. There are some rituals which are regional. In other words, they are done in certain regions. For example, in the region of Punjab, the Sikh people, they have a tradition, which is that the groom carries a sword with him on his wedding day. So this originated people. Now, in fact, it's mandatory for a Sikh groom to carry the sword on his wedding day, because he's regarded as a protector of his wife and his family. And Another reason for why the Sikh groom carried this thing is because in ancient times, they would have to travel long distances with camels, horses, or carts. And so they probably needed this for their own protection. So this is a tradition that really doesn't apply to South Africans unless you are a Sikh person who hails from Punjab. We must be careful of not slavishly following traditions that we see on television without understanding its origins and without understanding its significance, right? So I see no place for the sword in South African weddings, because in this day and age where our girls are independent and they can stand on their own 2 feet, they don't need anybody's protection. So I can't see the reason for such a tradition. So the point I want to make is that we must remember that traditions are regional, and we can't follow all these traditions simply because it's what we see on television. Yes, the traditions that we see in Ramayan are certainly the traditions that we can follow. So lots of lessons that we've learned during this week, and I'm hopeful that you have thoroughly enjoyed them and found them to be useful. And hopefully we'll see some of these things taking action in the weddings that we will be having in South Africa. I want to thank all of you for your participation in our satsang. And I want to wish everybody a happy Ram Navami for tomorrow. We'll now move on to the concluding part. Dhanyavad. कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। ओम मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनोहरि। ओम सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबिके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते। Sprinkle water around your arti. Om yani kani cha papani janmantara kritani cha tani tani vinashyanti pradakshina pade pade. We'll now do Visarjan and Kshama Prarthana. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschet Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. You may bow down. Om Apradha Sahasrani Krihante Harnishang Maya Dasohyam Iti Mamatva Kshamasva Parameshwara. Om Avahanam na janami Visarjanam Pujancheva na janami Kshamasva Parameshwara. Om Anyatha Sharanam Nasti Tvam Eva Sharanam Mama Tasmat Karunya Bhavena Rakshatvam Parameshwara. बोलिए विघ्नहर्ता गणेश भगवान की जय। श्री राधे कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री शिव शंकर भगवान पार्वती माता की जय। श्री सीतारामचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री लक्ष्मण जी की जय। श्री बजरंग बली महावीर स्वामी की जय। जग जगनी दुर्गा काली लक्ष्मी सरस्वती माता की जय। श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय। सनातन धर्म की जय। सब पितर देव की जय। ओम नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हर। जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। जय सिया राम। धन्यवाद। शुभ रात्रि।